Hello. I'm going to wait until a few people get here, and then I'm going to start chatting. So as you arrive, just give us a hello or a "we're here," and then I'll start, and I'll post this as well on the Neurodiversity Unmasked page, so that people can watch it back in a bit. But I will wait just a couple of minutes just in case anybody wants to join. I don't want them to miss the beginning of our feedback from yesterday's meeting. Hello. Okay, 5 people. Okay. I hope you're all alright, guys. I've been a little bit absent the last couple of weeks. I don't know if, hi Lisa, I don't know if some of you might have known that there was an awful fire in West Cross, so I just took a little bit of time out from this campaign to help that family. Unfortunately, 2 people died and it was horrendous, and so we've just been doing a bit of fundraising. So I haven't given up at all on this campaign. I've just took a little bit of time, put this aside for a second so that I could help a local family. So and people have been brilliant. So if anyone is watching that is local and that has given to our fundraising campaign for that, we've raised almost £32,000, which is bonkers, and brilliant. And you know, we've got such an amazing community down here. So thank you if you are watching and you have donated to that fund. But yeah, that's kind of my explanation why I've been AWOL for a little while, but I'm back in the room. So right, I'm going to start and tell you what happened yesterday. I hope you're ready with this, guys. Right, so if you haven't got a cup of tea, look at this. I love this. This is like, I went to Harry Potter World, okay, and I came back with this. Could be guess. Massive cup of tea. So I like my tea, and I've got to have at least 2 cups in the morning before I start my day. So right, 10 people, awesome. Right, let's start. So yesterday we went to meet a few officials at the Welsh Government offices in Caerdydd and Cardiff. I went with a friend of mine, I won't name her. Yes, you need a glass of wine, Sarah. I won't name her because she is a teacher and there are certain implications for people who are teachers that speak out, which is wrong, but I won't. Anyway, she's awesome and she came with me. So I've always been representing the children. She was there helping to represent the teachers, because you know, we're advocating for teacher training for both. You know, it's like teachers are at breaking point and children are having mental health crises left, right and centre. So I thought, you know, we'll tag team and we'll give a good oversight of exactly what's happening with the children and, you know, and families and the teachers and the education system. So we went in and we were waiting for another official to join us, who in the end didn't join us until he joined us on Teams. But while we were chatting in the beginning, because I've got eyes like an absolute hawk, I noticed some emails that were printed out in front of one of the officials, and they were incredibly derogatory, and they were about me, from one official to the other, and back and forth. And so I sat and read these emails, you know, and I don't mind what is said about me. You know, I think, having done a couple of campaigns now, I think you just get so used to having bullets shot at you all the time, and some of them hurt and some of them don't really hurt. But what bothered me about this is they said things like, who does she think she is? She's not privileged enough to affect policy, and she's a tricky voice, and like all of these things that I thought, right, firstly, you shouldn't be emailing people that. Secondly, I've always just advocated for the children. This has never been about me or anything else. There's not another agenda. And thirdly, you're wrong because I've not been a tricky voice. I've always, from day one, said I want to have a nice campaign. I want us to all together lift these children up, lift these teachers up. And yeah, from my very first meeting that I had with Rebecca Evans, who is Finance Minister of Wales, who I can't say enough awesome things about. She's brilliant, and I made sure that I had a meeting with her because I didn't want to be out of my depth, you know, with a campaign where I was just shouting into a void. I wanted to make sure that it had legs, and so I spoke to Rebecca before we published the petition, and I said, does this have legs? Is this, you know, is this a possibility? It's a lot of effort, it's very emotive because obviously I'm living it as well with Dakota, and I want to make sure that we do have a chance of getting this legislation through. Yes, absolutely, is what she said. So I totally trust her. I think she's awesome, and so that's why then a couple of days later we published the petition. So obviously the petition was asking for a few different things. The main ask was to get teacher training and all people facing staff trained in neurodiversity. Now obviously the reason that we need this is because it is hit and miss. Some teachers are brilliant with ALN and some people do not understand it, and in no way have I ever had a go at anyone who is not good, apart from some people will do it. But you know, I understand if you're not trained, you're not trained, and that's, you know, that's where we just need to support the teachers to support the children. Anyway, right, I'm totally digressing. So I couldn't sit there and see these emails that were written about me, not because ow they hurt, but because it became incredibly apparent at that point that what I was reading was Welsh Government trying to manage me. I don't like being managed, and I don't like my voice being managed, and I don't think that any of us should. As constituents of Wales, we should, all of us, have a voice. We should all be comfortable having a voice and being able to call our Senate members or our MPs or write to them with an issue and be assured that we are valid. We are privileged enough to be able to communicate in that way. But it was very apparent by these emails that I was not in any way going to be listened to. I was not validated, and they were just getting us into this room to shush us up. Obviously, that's not going to work, and they've just poked the bear, and now I'm definitely not going to shut up. So I think that I've been incredibly nice throughout this campaign. And I made a decision this morning, which is why I didn't speak to you guys yesterday. I made a decision. I've let it sort of settle overnight. I've let the sediment settle. And I thought, you know, after that meeting, it felt like I'd been handed a crap car from a crap car salesman, but I'd been upsold it to, you know, oh, this is a Porsche, and I came out, you know, when you buy something, you're like, why have I bought that? I don't want that. And that's kind of how I felt at the end of the meeting. So the meeting carried on, and you know, there was an awful lot of apologies, and the person in question, I will not name the officials because I've been asked not to name them, and I am grown up enough to not name them at this moment, so I won't do that. But this particular official, she was very apologetic. She said, I'm sorry, you saw that, blah, 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 blah. Fine, okay. So the meeting carried on, and they were nice. And this other official joined us eventually on Teams, and he basically said, we are not entertaining, or I am not entertaining the thought of even making teacher training in neurodiversity compulsory. I'm not entertaining it. No. I don't understand why there is a petitions committee. Why do we bother writing petitions? Why do we bother writing to our councillors, to our Senate members, to our MPs, if we haven't actually got a bloody chance in hell of changing anything? Because it hits somebody like this particular official and they say, no, I'm not entertaining that, because do you know what? It doesn't work. He said mandatory training does not work for teachers. I've been asked to do this, this, this and this, all of these different training, okay? He's like, oh, you'd laugh if you saw all the training that I've been asked to do. I've been asked to make it mandatory for LGBTQ+. I've been asked to do like the racism, Black Lives Matter stuff and water safety, and I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, do you know what? All of those things should be compulsory. What is wrong with this? What is the problem? They all should be, and so should neurodiversity. Now, this particular official said, you know, oh, 1 in 20 children are I've got ALN. ALN, for people who don't know what it is, additional learning needs. Now, 1 in 20, hands up, who thinks that that is the worst figure that you've ever heard? That was the most ridiculous thing. It is absolutely not 1 in 20. Like in both schools that Dakota's been in, there's just been a massive amount of children with ALN from autism, ADHD, dyspraxia, dysgraphia, like Tourette's, all sorts, loads of different additional learning needs, and that is not 1 in 20. I can 100% promise you we're looking at more like 40 to 50% of children have got additional learning needs. More with mental health needs now after the pandemic. So one of my first conversations with an Elenco said it's more like 80% of children with mental health needs now in school after the pandemic. But, you know, 1 in 20. So this person's obviously totally out of touch with what is going on in their schools. They are a top official to the Welsh Government. Now, he made out that what he said, no, I'm not entertaining that at all. But do you know what we've got, girls? So he handed us a little lollipop, not really, but you know, and said, yeah, lick this, girls, and shh, because what we're going to do, we've created this thing, this package called DARPL, okay, DARPL, and basically it's a diversity and anti-racist professional learning program, and it's incredibly effective. Okay, so I'm sitting there obviously not knowing about this. Is not my bag. I don't know about this, so you know we're sitting there going, okay, and he said, you know, it works and it's got a reach and blah blah blah. He said, I want to do the same with ALN. So again, I don't know anything about it, so we're like, oh, okay, I don't know, you know, we don't know what we're doing. So at that point, I think, right, I'm gonna have to just go and research DARPL. So I come home and I researched what it is, and I asked around a good few of my teacher friends, have you ever heard of DARPL? And the answer was unanimously no, never heard of it. So they are asking us to replicate what they've done with DARPL with ALN, but DARPL isn't effective. It's not got the reach that it needs to have, and it's not got the reach that we are asking for with the neurodiversity training. Now, I'm in no way saying that DARPL is not needed. I'm in no way saying that anti-racism awareness is not needed. I absolutely think it is. Okay, there you go, Sarah. I'm governor of 2 schools. I've never heard of it. I rest my case. And you know, I've not asked one teacher. I've asked quite a few teachers. Never heard of it. So if it's not got the reach of, and you know, that's what he thinks is like incredibly effective, it's not gonna work. So they said, oh, you know, we said, well, could we be part of it? Could we be part of that like steering group or whatever it's called? Yeah, of course, yeah, we'd love you to be. And you know, for a moment we thought, okay, well, you know, we should be part of it because we don't want anything to be happening that is not that is rubbish, you know. So we can make sure that something happens that's effective for the kids. And then, like I said, we've sort of both gone away and thought we don't want to be part of something that is not effective, that is just another tick box exercise of like 300 pages of a report that's written and on the ground nothing is seen. I don't want to be part of it. So that's when we come to the decision, or I've come to the decision, to just totally come clean about yesterday's meeting and say, yes, they offered us to be part of this group that would be producing this DARPL replica, but it is not going to work, and that's not what we're asking for. And that was never what the petition was about. We all know as parents and as teachers that what we need. We all know that what is needed on the ground are teachers that understand the children, because it's a total game changer. I've seen it with my own eyes with Dakota, I've seen it with other children, and that's all that's needed. It's not a massive provision. We keep saying this, it's not going to cost the earth. I've given some brilliant ideas about training, about big training events to create a buzz of a neurodiversity day so teachers are engaged, because they were saying, you know, compulsory training isn't engaging and people hate it and blah blah blah. Well, maybe they do, because it's probably crap, but so you need to do something that's engaging, you know, create a buzz. Hire Swansea Arena, hire Cardiff Arena, hire big venues in all of the counties, and create these bloody big events, and invite neurodiverse people to it, you know, invite neurodiverse singers, invite artists, invite all of the people that are like the National Autistic Society and Neurodiverse UK and like all, so it's almost like a trade show. So get all of those people there, create a buzz, and let it be led by people who are neurodiverse. They know what they're talking about. They know, these grown-ups know what was missing when they were children, because it was all missing when we were in school. And if I hear one more time why there's so many autistic people now and there weren't before, obviously it's just because it's recognised now, which is good. So, you know, I've given out these ideas and I think they're bloody brilliant ideas. You're literally mass training these people with a huge buzz, and they're engaged and they want to know and they want to learn, and they go back and go, I recognise that in my student now, awesome. Instead of saying, oh no, we're going to replicate this crappy DARPL pack and we'll put an inset day pack together. Now, inset days, if you're a teacher, you will know that there are billions of things to do on inset days. So how long would that allocate to a neurodiverse inset pack? An hour? Don't know. You know, like it's not effective. Anyway, so yeah, this guy, sorry Sarah, I know you've asked, is he the only person in charge? Well, this is the thing. He made out that it was him and his decision. And I came away thinking, I am in a dictatorship. We're not in a democracy here. I'm living in a dictatorship, because that means we haven't got a voice. There's no point in electing Senedd members to speak on our behalf when they can't, because then you've got some bloody official trying to say absolutely not, we're not entertaining that. So yeah, anyway, but then I did have a conversation with Rebecca Evans, who, like I said, was awesome, and she said, no, he's not the be all and end all. He does not make those decisions. The minister will make those decisions. So it will, in this case, be Jeremy Miles's decision on whether that can happen or not. So there we go. So I wish I knew that yesterday, because I would have said, but he totally made out that it was absolutely his decision and there was no way he was entertaining the idea of having compulsory ALN training, and that goes for the universities as well. It's because obviously we were advocating for university training, so for the PGCE and for the degree course, because it's so minimal that the teachers are coming in to the classrooms and not knowing what they're doing. There was my friend who came with me did a little bit of research into this, and she said in Carmarthenshire and Trinity College 60% of their teachers have dropped out by year 2 in their training course. Like, so you know, something is not working there as well. So they need to relook at this whole thing. I mean, we're crying out for teachers. The teachers that we have got, we're losing because they're all going off on stress, and this is a massive reason for it. Sarah, the Welsh Government already fund training for schools through Autism Wales, but the schools have not taken it up. Why not make that compulsory now? So when I spoke to Rebecca earlier, she said to me, this depends on whether it's a new legislation or like we can hook on to another one. So I mean, this may be a possibility. I've left it with her to figure out if it's a secondary or first legislation. But in the email that they sent me back this morning, they said in our notes, well, there was no apology, by the way, in the notes about the way they spoke about me, but these are the notes. No current legislative framework from which to create mandatory training for the education profession, and no intent to create a legislative environment. Awesome, thanks. So to be honest with you, I think that we could probably have had like 100,000 signatures on that petition, and we still wouldn't have got anywhere in this route. So anyway, yeah, that was part of the notes. And then all the stuff that they're doing, like £12 million committed, I'd love to know where that went, because I don't think anybody on the ground has seen that £12 million. Certainly not in our county. I don't know where it is. And yeah, all the bits and bobs that they seem to say that they're doing, but like nobody sees anything. So sorry, Alison. Yeah, I changed time because Dakota's gone to dance and Odessa's gone to jiu-jitsu, and I thought, this is my time, so I'm going to do it now. So yeah, that's what that said. Anyway, so I think that there's more than one way to skin a cat, and I'm not giving up yet. So I think there is another way forward. Having spoken to Rebecca today, I think that if we can, like, obviously it's not that official's decision, so that's good. So I think we need to, Jeremy, please, can you blink and meet us? So I can explain how important it is and what these kids are going through. I need to meet him. I like meeting his officials and them pretending that they are, you know, they're the total decision makers is not helpful when you've got, and you know, it's not my voice, it's a collective voice of all of us trying to get the best for our children. So anyway, if we meet him and can possibly persuade him that, look, this is a huge issue, it's huge, then we possibly could go forward. And also with the legislation, if it is a secondary legislation, then hopefully we could tag on to something else. It's just getting past that particular official. So I've left it with Rebecca to do a little bit of digging for me and see what she can come up with. But you know, we really do need to make it clear to the Welsh Government that, you know, as the general public, we should absolutely have the privilege to influence policy decisions. It shouldn't just be left to the companies and the organisations and the charities that the government choose to work with, and therefore usually they choose to fund. You know, so they have to toe the line somewhat because they don't want to lose their funding. Same with teachers. You know, the reason I'm not naming this particular teacher is because it's been made incredibly clear to me from my teaching friends, we can't be outspoken and vocal about this situation, even though it's killing us, because we're afraid of losing our jobs, or if we try and move jobs within county, we're not going to get it. So so yeah, there we are. So I am speaking for them. Let's see what you guys have said, and then I'm gonna read, so don't go anywhere, then I'm gonna read the letter that I wrote back to them, because I have been told in the letter that they wrote to me this morning, please do not share anything on Facebook, please make us look good, and yeah, please don't mention our names or our titles. Well, I'm not mentioning your names, but your titles, people's titles can be Googled, so, and you're public servants, so tough. They're staying on. And do you know what? My voice hasn't got anywhere close to tricky yet. That's outrageous. I know, right? Good girl. Thanks, babes. Does he have the authority to make that decision? No. So officials just advise ministers and don't make the decisions. But I didn't know that with this particular one yesterday, because he just made out that he was like king of the world. So that's my bad. If I'd have known, like, I'm actually fairly new to all this politics stuff. I don't like it particularly, and yeah, I'm still very much learning, so sorry guys, but if I'd have known, I would have challenged that. So basically the Welsh public have no say in how our country is run, how the next generation are treated. One person can just shut it down without hearing us. Well, that was what I was worried about, but apparently, well, yeah, they still can, but it's the minister that can do that. So this will be Jeremy Miles's decision, not that official's decision. But yeah, it can. Although he is an elected member, so, you know, it's us that elect those people. So I guess it's on us. There's 2 autistic and 3 ADHD in my daughter's mainstream class of 28. Yep, and there'll probably be more dyslexic children, dyspraxic, and yeah, and a whole other range of neurodiversities in that class. Yeah, that's just the ones I know about, and that's the thing, you don't know about a lot of them because they're not recognised, because teachers aren't trained. I'm a governor of 2 schools. There we are. Yeah, I've not heard of it. DARPL. Anyone heard of DARPL? Let me know if you've heard of DARPL. Is this the person to make the decision? No, my friend, it's not. He's not going to like that one bit. Does the Welsh Government charge for professional training such as DARPL? I don't know. I think it's free. I don't know. The group I know is steered by volunteers. So that's what's supposed to be like attractive about it, is that the volunteers from like on the ground, us minions, steer it probably for free. I think it's voluntary. So yeah, I think teachers would absolutely welcome training like this. Yeah, they would. And well, I think majority of teachers would. I've spoken to loads of teachers along the way, and yeah, absolutely they want it. Lots of teachers that do have neurodiversity training and haven't before, just yeah, the guilt that they've felt. I think I've told you this before, but the guilt that they felt for treating their students, their pupils, in wrong has really affected them, because they're nice. Most teachers are lovely people. They love their kids, but they if you don't know, you don't know, and that's that, isn't it? So yeah, I think they would as well. Welsh Government already fund training for schools through Autism Wales, but the schools haven't taken it up. Why not make it? I've just said that. Yeah, I don't know why not make it compulsory. But as soon as we could, Sarah and I have had a discussion about this, and we've said, because she's governor of a school, and if you correct me if I'm wrong here, Sarah, but if you get a governor to request that your school become autism friendly, then they have to have the training. The teachers have to have the training for that school to be autism friendly. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Sarah, and I'll scroll down in a second to see what you say. So I've requested it for our school, but most of our school are brilliant, because they've been there forever and kind of learnt on the job, and that's what they're expected to do. You know, they're expected to learn on the job. I did a level 1 training that the teachers have already 2 days ago. It does not cover how to support the children. Yeah, I think they need at least level 3. Jeremy Miles shouldn't have his staff saying that the buck stops with them, undermining his authority. Now, if I was Jeremy Miles, I would have been cross at that, really cross. So I know that it's been fed back to him. Yeah, I know that's been fed back to him, so I await his response on that. Thank you so much for doing it for our children. No problem. Time for protests with ALN Reform England. Right, yeah, so there are some girls, hopefully, say hi girls, that are watching from ALN Reform Wales. That's another thing I wanted to mention actually. So ALN Reform England had a protest outside of Parliament a few weeks ago now, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. And from that, some Welsh girls have set up ALN Reform Wales. Oh, I had a heart, that's one of you. Give me some more hearts. So they are replicating what I believe what the ALN Reform England girls are doing. So they've just put their petition into the Senedd. So when it comes out, obviously we're all going to sign it. But yeah, I don't know exactly what's in that petition. I know they've cited this petition in there, but I don't know exactly what's in that petition. But I think, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's more to do with children who need special units, rather than like STFs, or special schools, rather than the teacher training for mainstream, I think. But yeah, correct me if I'm wrong there, but we'll be signing it. However, while I'm on that point, another thing that was said to me yesterday was incredibly discouraging, was by said official. She said, it takes a lot of time out of our day when you're having to look at petitions, and all these letters are coming in, and because I sent all of your comments with the agenda pack, and she said, yeah, thanks for these. She said, there's nothing I haven't seen before. Right, firstly, if there's nothing I haven't seen before, why are you still seeing the same things? Because surely, you're a public servant and these things are supposed to change. That's the whole point of people writing to you, not for fun. And secondly, you're discouraging people from writing in their problems. They shouldn't be problems in the first place. They're writing in, you've got to listen to them. But saying to me, like, people do it, as she said about you girls actually, with the ALN Reform Wales, she said another petition's come through now. And I said, that's nothing to do with me. I said, they've cited this petition in there. I don't want to know what's in the petition. I know the girls that are doing it. But there we are. But it's not my petition. But she said, yeah, like all of these things are just taking time out of their days, and they can't then, that's because they've got to respond, so they can't actually do their jobs. That's your job. So yeah, I don't know, it just felt like we were just being a right pain in the arse, but which we're not yet, are we? So especially when these officials are acting so unprofessional and talking about you between themselves. Absolutely disgusting. Yep. Well, this is the thing, I have actually just requested all of those emails from the Freedom of Information. So let's see what that comes back with. I'm pretty sure after this conversation, though, they won't want to work with me anymore. But that's crap, because I'm working with them for the children, not because I want to work with them. Is there a way of getting a group of individuals who have gone through bad situations to meet the Welsh Government? They're not going to listen. This is the thing, we met with them yesterday. I am living with an ALN child. No, they don't. I don't know. They'll do what they want to do, I guess. I mean, please try. Please write and try. I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying, ugh. Have you written to heaven? Yes, I have. And I don't think I got a response from heaven. I know that he's got a child with ALN, but that child is, I think, in a special needs school rather than mainstream. And so I think heaven sees things from a slightly different perspective. But I haven't had, I don't think, a response from him. Like nothing that is not standard anyway. No, never heard of it. No, and I have never seen it in a training catalogue either. I can ask my Senko. Yeah, I have, Claire, heard of DARPL. I know 2 lecturers who were involved. Hi, Daniel. Well, there you go. So you got 2. Brilliant. But, what we're asking, and I'm good, I'm glad you have, but what we're asking for is for every person who is coming into contact with our children in our education establishments to understand neurodiversity, not just a couple. It's not having the reach that it needs to have. My son hasn't been allowed to go to his leavers residential today, as they were concerned that he'd have a meltdown. For goodness sake. I'm sorry, I'm trying to and ruin it for the main group of children. I don't even know what to say to that, Alison. I'm sorry, like, give them some popcorn and give them a cutch. I don't even know what to say to that. Where do you start? It's like, ugh, I don't know where to start with it. It's discriminating left, right and centre. Hi, sorry, late, watched the bus start. Hi, Louisa. I'm so lucky Alfie's in an ASD unit attached to a mainstream school. Yeah, you guys are doing good there, aren't you? Hi, Vic. Hello. Right, okay, ALN Wales team. Hello. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Vic. Okay, there's a protest on the 10th of October in Cardiff. I shall repeat this. There is a protest on the 10th of October in Cardiff, which I will endeavour to go to. Vic, we're covering the issues around the new ALN process, the loopholes in it, delays of IDP, lack of provision. I can tell you about some delays in a second. Hang on, we spoke about this yesterday. See more, can't press see more, doesn't want to press. Hang on, because I want to see what you've written. And obviously training. Okay, right. So we did briefly speak about I don't know if I wrote it down here, the time it takes to get diagnosis in Wales, and in Gwent, I think Gwent, they said that they've got it down to like 9 months or so. I'm gonna have to check that. I've written it down, but I haven't got it here with me. But yeah, so like that diagnostic process is coming down there. But again, you are playing a postcode lottery. You know, you live there, brilliant. If you live somewhere that it's still 4 years or 5 years almost, not so good, you know. So it's got to come down across the board, which is why the Welsh Government need to intervene, so it's not left up to the LAs to deal with that. The ALN Act is being reviewed on the back kind of our petition. So yeah, you might want to just be really specific about what is in that you want them to review, to look at. Lack of provision. I mean, most of the provision, really, I just think is most of it for most children is just being understood. That's it. I know obviously that's not for every child, and you know there are other difficulties that where they need physical provisions and stuff. I get that, but you know there's such a big percentage that it's just understanding these children, and your whole attitude changes. Mine did. I was terrible with Dakota before I understood her, and now I think this whole thing, I'll be grateful for one thing at least coming out of this, is that I am now a bloody good mother because I understand my child. And I didn't want to not be a good mother before, but you know I probably wasn't because I didn't get her, and I just thought that you know she was doing things just to be a pain in the arse for attention or whatever, and you know that poor child was really struggling. So you know it goes for the teachers as well. Again, I'll repeat myself if you haven't seen what I've said before with Dakota, from going from one school to another, and you know she said my favourite thing about this new school is my teachers understand me. For a 9-year-old girl to say that is massive. That's all she wants, is to be understood, to be like, I am not the only person on this planet that feels this way, and I'm okay, I'm allowed to feel like this, you know, I'm allowed to feel dysregulated and ask for help. I'm allowed to do that. You know, that doesn't make me a bad person. That doesn't make me have to sort of sit here and concentrate so hard on not moving because that's the rule, that I can't concentrate on what I'm supposed to be learning. Being understood is massive. So yeah, I mean that provision needs to come from teacher training, and so therefore understanding. Why is nothing being done then if they have had so many letters? Do you know what? That's a good question, isn't it? And when I think it was 105 comments that I sent to them, I did post them, so scroll back if you haven't seen them, but you know they were really grassroots things from parents, mainly a couple of teachers in there as well, but mainly from parents saying, you know, this is what we're struggling with, what's the answer to this, you know. And everywhere she said, yeah, this is nothing I haven't seen before. I don't get it. Why are these things not changing? And you know, this lady was adamant, you know, we're working really hard, we are making changes, and you think, well, what? Why are we not seeing them then? Obviously, you can't be sitting at desks doing nothing. I don't know what you're doing, but I do know that we are not seeing the changes here with our children and with our teachers. Our teachers are all going off in stress, and our children. There's one boy in particular that I was talking about the other day. He's got PTSD from his primary school experience, from being stuck in that box that he was doing, you know, trying to stay in and be someone else and whatever. And now he's got PTSD. You know, the child can't sleep at night because he's got PTSD. He can't look at the badge on his old primary school without getting stressed. I don't want to say too much because I haven't had permission to talk about this, but you know, that's a real thing. That's a real thing that's happening. And you can sit in your government office and you can say we're working really hard, and I hope that you are, but we are not seeing it on the ground. So we've got a lot more work to do here. Hi Rebecca. My daughter, who is very possible ADHD, was told she couldn't completely mask or be good as gold one day and not another. Well, who told you that though? It's somebody who's not trained, isn't it? That's the thing. She turns on a pinhead, and they do. They do. Oh my God, I see this all the time. Like, one thing can dysregulate Dakota. She can be on top of the world, totally regulated, and then literally one thing can happen, one thing can be said, and she's gone. And then, you know, it takes some time to really sort of get her back to feeling safe and regulated again. Of course, it's like that is just that's something that everybody should know. That's something that every parent of an ALN child, autistic ADHD, should know, and they will know, and that's what every single teacher should know. Oh God, it makes me so cross, stupid. How much time do they think we spend fighting for our kids every day and dealing with the fallout with our kids? This is another thing. I swear they think that I've got some other agenda, you know. Yeah, I was a Labour councillor for 5 months, 6 months. I hated it, and but that's it, you know. And the reason I became a councillor was because the Labour guys came around my house and said, "Will you stand for Labour as a councillor? You know, you can do some good in the community." And at the time, I was collecting for stuff for Ukraine, because the Ukraine the war had just started there. And so, you know, I guess I had a good public profile, and they could see that I got things done, and so they asked, and that's why I've never been interested in politics. It doesn't. I'm gonna have a sip of my massive tea. Hang on. It's good cup of tea. Yeah, I've never been interested in that, but you know, if they think that I've got another agenda, I know that they do keep an eye on this Facebook page, because they say they're going to be so cross at this. But I haven't got another agenda. Please, if you listen to something else and nothing else today, that is it. I've not got another agenda. The only thing I care about are these children and the teachers, but mainly the children. That is it. So do you think that I want to spend all my time fighting? This is exhausting. I'm so tired. Like, I'm desperately wanting a holiday and just to turn my phone off and do nothing at all, but I can't, because I've got to keep fighting, because people are knackered and they can't do it, and we have to fight for our kids anyway. Like, I could just fight for Dakota. We are doing it every blinking day. So I don't want to do this. None of us want to do this. If you're listening, we do not want to keep fighting. It shouldn't be a fight. It shouldn't be. We shouldn't have to fight for a basic human right of an education for our children. Sarah, like she doesn't want to do her job. I've lost my head. I can't wait to meet you lot. I know. There we are. Yeah, they've got loads to do. I'm sure they've got loads to do, but you know, they're on a lovely hefty salary, no doubt, and you know, I'm getting paid zero for doing this, and neither are you guys. So these are people in positions of power, and her attitude is horrendous. I know. I don't want to sit here and slate everyone. Like, I don't want to do that. it's really tough not to, but I don't want to do that. I still want to try and get this off the ground. And I don't know, maybe now I'm not going to be able to, but there we are. Exactly as I was thinking, Sarah. Hi, Gwen. I've heard a penny for every time I read in a research paper that training and education is one key factor behind a more inclusive ALN system, I'd be very wealthy. Yeah, well, I don't know. They're absolutely saying it's not a chance. And you know what? In the PGCs and the degree courses, there's such a minimal amount. The teachers, the training teachers are coming in, and the just newly trained teachers are coming in. They don't know what they're doing. They're drowning in ALN children because there are a lot of them, and they don't know what to do. It's incredibly unfair, and they're just not getting the training. And that we asked for that yesterday as well. That was chucked out. Why is fighting for a diagnosis so hard when you get so little? Get so little. I don't know. I want recognition and acceptance to gain support. I don't know. Like we haven't had to fight for a diagnosis yet, so I only know what I know. We haven't actually had a diagnosis. We're still waiting. Hopefully it'll be coming soon, or at least the assessment will be coming soon. But yeah, I know that's a whole different fight. I know in Swansea we are still behind a lot of the counties, in that we are still leaning on our education system completely for the referring process, referring to the diagnostic process, whereas other counties don't do that. They are GP led. There you go. So I'm still waiting for Chris Bryant to get back to me. He's my local MP in a support group I'm in. I see him regularly, so I can give him a nudge. Good. He lives by me. Oh, we'll invite him to this. Hi, Chris. Come and join us. I like having David. He's great, but his hands are tied like most. Well, you know, I find that really hard to take, because I think when we elect Senate members and we elect MPs and councillors, if your hands are tied, what's the point? You know, like, you have to make a stand for things that are important, and if you're living that like heaven is, then I don't buy that your hands are tied. I think that if you're a good Senate member / politician / councillor / MP, you would find a way. You just would. I would. I'm not a councillor. I've been asking for a diagnosis for 9 years. That's mental. 6 years and due to be seen next year. Definitely needs to be consistent across all LAs, which is why we've gone straight to Welsh Government and not just to our LA. Our letter said 22 months waiting list. He will be 15 when we started at 7 years of age. What has happened there, Leanne? I thought your little one has a diagnosis already. That's bonkers, isn't it? For goodness sake. Referral. Rebecca, referral has now been done by my school. We had to fight. As they say, they see no signs. And again, like, if these people were trained, they would know that children mask. They would look a little bit closer. They would ask questions. They would have a conversation with the children and figure out, like, it's not that difficult. Like, if a child is sitting quietly in a corner, they're probably going to go, do you know what? They're not causing me a problem. I'm not going to bother with them. You know, they're not showing signs, but they are actually showing signs by sitting in the corner and not answering their names. Change together. Yes, Sharon. Kaylee, does Gwent still exist? I'm in Torfaen, which was originally called Gwent, and I can assure you that assessment waiting times are not down to 9 months. Let me check. I'll get back to you on that, and I'll put it in the comments, but I wrote it down where it was. Pretty sure they said Gwent, but yeah, they said they got it down to 9 months, maybe even 6. I'll write it in the comments because I don't want to give you false information. I believe it's 36 months in RCT now. Well, last time I spoke about Swansea, it was 28 months here, which is bonkers. When my daughter comes in, it's an emergency to get her uniform off. Yeah, I'm not surprised she doesn't want to be in it. She doesn't want to be in school. I know my daughter, and it's probably, lots of children don't want to be wearing uniform, do they? Because of sensory issues. I know my daughter's incident was on that agenda when she self-harmed in class, all down to, hang on, sorry, let me just try and get this whole message out. The supply teacher blasting music in class, so she heard that before. Obviously not, that's awful. Julie, Welsh Government were for us. I think they forget that. All you policy makers, etc. Remember, you were there for us. Yeah, sorry, Julie, I didn't let you know that we were starting early, but watch it back. PTSD does not surprise me. My son has been in 20 days this term. Absolutely hates school. Again, I'm trying to get the rest of this message up. Sorry. God help me in September. I'm hoping to start a new school. Well, I hope your new school has got some understanding, because that's the thing, I'm going to be sending Dakota to a comprehensive school in 2 years, and I really would love to know that every teacher, regardless of what comprehensive school I send her to, is going to have a firm understanding of ALN. But at this rate, it's not going to happen. I'm going to read my letter out in a minute, so just bear with me. I'm going to get through these and I'm going to read the letter out. You're going to love it. The training regarding ALN code told people they were expected to see 40% reduction in IDP's comparison. I can tell you why that is, because they've taken the general learning difficulties off the code, off the system. So automatically you're losing a massive percentage of children off their codes and off their figures. So they have manipulated those figures. So that does not mean that there's less children in need. It means that they are seeing less children in need, and the children that have been taken off aren't getting looked after. Awesome, Welsh Government, well done. Unless you live it, I don't think you can truly understand what it's like. Yeah, well, I don't live it, but I live with my baby who does live it, and yeah. Sarah, Vicky, that's correct. I've been on a few of the training courses and they say 40%. I would say 40%, if not more. And 40% was what we were told when I was doing my research right in the beginning, before the petition, by an ALN. So I wasn't 100% sure that was totally right, but that's what I would go with. And I mean, they can give us the figures if they like, but like I said, their figures are now manipulated. So Rebecca, my daughter was punching herself in the face, calling herself stupid because she dropped a felt under my driving seat, and I was driving a dual carriageway. Do you know what? Dakota used to do this when we were in lockdown. She used to hit herself and and scram herself, and if she was upset with herself, because she has such a sense of perfection. So, and it's awful to see, and that was a phase that she has stopped, thankfully, but I totally hear you, it's awful. Hi Biddy, so sick of fighting by will. Me too, none of us want to, right? Sarah, I want to be chaining myself up to Jeremiah's garden gate until he listens. I know, I really wish he would. I mean, I don't know how to get him to listen. I don't know what to do, but I don't know, I'm just going to go and pray somewhere. The Welsh Government can say they're trying to make Wales inclusive. Well, that is utter rubbish. I mean, if I've got an official saying to me, oh God, people are asking for this to be trained, this and this. Yeah, lesbian and gay people, it should be inclusive for everybody. For Black Lives Matter, it should be inclusive, and neurodiversity, it should be inclusive. Yes, yes, all of this should be inclusive. I don't know why they think that it's a thing that it shouldn't. I don't understand it at all. Yes, it should be. 7 years I've been fighting for a diagnosis. I've just shared this to Heaven. Good. Hi Heaven, I hope you're watching. So quite a lot of the people are actually, the Senate members are on this group now, so I really hope, guys, if you're listening, right, please listen to what we are saying to you. Nobody is trying to slag you all off. we are trying to work with you, and all we want is the best for these children. So if you are a Senate member and you're watching this back, or if you are an official and you're watching this back, please, for the love of God, can you listen to us? Please, it's an absolute disaster. You're going to lose all your teachers soon, and your the poor kids, and then you're going to have Sarah chaining herself to garden gates. Sarah, they would never have to fight for diagnosis and their private healthcare would fund it. I bet better be accepted by the ALN. Oh, I'm not really sure what that says. Sorry, Sarah. COVID had to start all over. Leanne. Yeah, and this is another thing. I've heard a lot of these stories about with COVID hit and people having to restart their process, and also like when administration things have gone wrong, you've had to go all the way back to the beginning. I mean, something needs to be done about that if it hasn't already. So Neuro team quoted 3 to 4 years in North Wales. They have taken mental health off too. It means there is refusing support for them. Yeah, taking that off. Yeah. So mental health and general learning difficulties, no support. Sharon, I don't have a neurodiverse child as far as I know, but I get it 100%. I've discussed it how you were, hang on, let me just get this whole message up. Essentially dismissed with a lollipop yesterday, I know. My son was finally accepted by the neuro team around February, March. Had the letter saying his first appointment will be in February 2024. Well, it's all too long, isn't it? I think we're all really patient. I said this in the meeting yesterday. I think we're all really patient with waiting for the diagnosis. It's the lack of support during the diagnostic process that is the issue for most parents and for teachers. So I think we're incredibly patient. I'm Kafili. I know where that lollipop would have gone if I was there yesterday. I'll invite you next time. Ellen from Wales will protest, one main protest, and then regional, we will keep going. And I will be there with you, Vic. They don't accept private diagnosis half of the time for us little people. And that's another thing, they don't. I think you've got to really, really, really fight for a private diagnosis to be accepted in schools. Okay, our last one then. Rebecca, daughter done platform calms, was expecting a lot more. Not sure what that is. Sorry, I don't know what that is. If you explain that, I'll reply to you in a minute. Anyway, I'm going to read this letter that I responded to Welsh Government with today. I'll take the names out because I've been asked to take the names out. I've also been asked to write nice things about them, but I've got to take the names out. Dear Bleep, I am writing to express my deep disappointment and concern following our meeting yesterday. Despite our discussion, I was disheartened to find no mention of our conversation or any of my points in the notes you provided, because they sent notes through with none of our stuff in it. Furthermore, I discovered no mention of the derogatory emails exchanged between yourself and another official, which have left me both disturbed and dismayed. I took the liberty of researching DARPL, and to my surprise, no teacher I consulted had ever heard of it. This lack of awareness amongst educators strongly suggests its ineffectiveness. Given this, I stand by my petition that it's essential that every member of the education staff receives proper mandatory training in neurodiversity to meet the needs of our substantial diverse student population. During our meeting, an official made it explicitly clear that he vehemently opposes the idea of making ALN training mandatory. Such an inflexible stance raises concerns about the democratic nature of our decision-making process. It is distressing to witness that the voices of those affected by these policies are being disregarded, while a single individual wields the power to impede progress. This is a clear departure from our democracy and borders on a dictatorial approach. It appears that the feedback you receive is selectively chosen, favouring a positive outlook with an emphasis on organisations that you fund. Unfortunately, this practice creates an atmosphere of fear amongst these organisations, inhibiting them from offering constructive criticism for fear of losing their funding. This selective feedback fails to provide an accurate representation of the concerns and challenges faced by the education community. The official's statement that only 1 in 20 children have ALN clearly demonstrates his disconnection from the reality of our neurodiverse community. In my daughter's case, in her mainstream classroom of 18 children, I would say at least 50% of them have ALN. This stark disparity highlights the magnitude of the issue at hand. These children are consistently misunderstood, leading to severe mental health consequences. Families and teachers are reaching their breaking points. Urgent action is required. I find it alarming that you expect me to remain silent on social media. Oops. The public and my followers and the parents and teachers affected by these policies have a fundamental right to know that their government is unwilling to address their concerns. Restricting my ability to voice these concerns further exacerbates the prevailing frustration and sense of powerlessness within our community. If the ALN policies are replicated based on DARPL, I firmly believe it will prove ineffective for our children and our teachers. As you are aware, the well-being and development of these children have always been and will remain my top priority. Brushing their needs aside in such a dismissive manner is both disheartening and deeply troubling. From the disrespectful emails you exchanged with the other official, it became evidence that you are attempting to control my voice on social media rather than genuinely helping our children be understood and fostering a safe environment for their growth. I want to emphasise that I will not allow my voice to be silenced. Our children deserve better, and their welfare should be the driving force behind any decisions made. It is disheartening to realise that the general public lacks the privilege to influence decisions made within the confines of Welsh Government offices. They need to be informed that petitions only hold weight if individuals, like the official, are willing to entertain them. Similarly, letters addressed to Senedd members appear to be futile unless they choose to give them due consideration. In light of these serious concerns, I eagerly await your apology regarding the disrespectful emails I encountered. It is crucial that we address this issue and move forward with a genuine intention of helping our children be understood and fostering an inclusive and supportive environment for their well-being. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I sincerely hope we can work together to effect positive change for the benefit of our children. Yours sincerely, Claire Anna Mitchell. So there we are. So I have not done what they've asked me to do. I have come online and I've explained because I feel like I need to explain to everybody who has signed that petition what happened in that meeting yesterday, because it's not my petition, it's our petition. And I don't know where we're going to go from here, but at the moment, as it stands with said official, he is adamant that this is not going to happen, and I am adamant that it will. So we haven't lost. We're not going to give up fighting, but I'm not going to be part of some rubbish reform that they're trying to do that's not going to be effective. So I'm going to await the response from that email. They haven't responded, funnily enough. They were probably, I would say, waiting on this Facebook Live to see what I'd say. Well, there you go. I haven't said their names. Whatever. I'm posting this everywhere. 1 in 20. Right? 1 in 20. Bonkers. It's shocking. There's no service to support the children while waiting for assessment. CAMS won't take them. Yeah, this is the thing. There isn't, and that's why the teachers need to. Do you know? It's this a health problem that we're handing to our teachers. Is another thing that they're having to deal with, which is not fair. But seeing as they have to do it, you know, we need to equip them properly. It's not on. I was told through my schooling I'd learning difficulties. I'm now 40 and things are still the same. We must keep up the fight. Stronger together, teamwork makes the dream work. I'm going to end on that note. Thanks, Alison. So there we go. This is a long one. So sorry guys, thank you for sticking with me, and I hope you understand everything that I've said, and reiterating the fact that I am no expert whatsoever in this field. I'm just a mum with a child with ALN, and a couple of friends in politics who I'm hoping will guide me in the right direction to be able to make this change for the children. So there we go. Right, I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Message me if you've got any questions. When the petition comes out with the ALN Reform Wales girls, please all sign it. I'll do another live to remind you to sign it, but please sign it. Yeah, because unfortunately we have to still fight because we're not being listened to. It's disappointing, isn't it? But I haven't given up. So right, I'm going to finish now, and have a good evening. Go and chain yourself to some garden gates, and I don't know what else to say. Oh God, let's keep in touch. Drop me some messages. Keep emailing your Senedd members. Keep emailing the petitions committee. Luke Fletcher has left the petitions committee, or is leaving, so there's going to be another Plaid Cymru member that's coming on board there. So make sure that you write to them. Write to the ALN team, write to Mark Drakeford, write to Jeremy Miles. Make sure that, you know, the more we write, the more it pisses them off, and they have to listen. They have to listen. They have to. Eventually they have to. They can't. They just can't ignore us forever. So my other half chirped, she will chain herself. Good. And on that note, I am going to finish my massive cup of really cold tea, and yeah, I'll keep you posted, but I haven't given up yet. We're going to get this done.